Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us. It is Saturday, January 25th, 2025. We are live here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show every Saturday morning, hosted by Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, REMAX Advantage Plus. We appreciate you joining us. This is an interactive show. You can check in at any point with us by commenting on the social media stream or 612-294-6949. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. And a lot to talk about today. Mike is off. We'll be getting an interest rate update and a real estate update in the first part of the show. Scott, good morning to you, buddy.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, the Minnesota Real Estate Show, we're here every Saturday. Love doing it. And more than that, we love your comments and your discussion through the show. So you can obviously call the radio station 612-294-6949, or you can text us to that same number. Or obviously, if you're following us on Facebook, just write your question or your comment in the feed, and we will handle it as it comes. Going to talk a little bit about moving into the spring market and all the things that come along with that. Multiple offers being one of them. So we're going to discuss how to kind of navigate through those, both on the selling side and buying side. And then also what's going to happen with home interest rates.
Yeah, yep. We got a lot to talk about, and we're getting ready to go live on air here again. News Talk 830, WCCO every Saturday morning, 10 to 11. And again, appreciate you joining us, everybody. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. Hope your weekend's starting off well. It is Saturday, January 25th, 2025, and we are live here in downtown Minneapolis at News Talk 830 WCCO every Saturday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill, with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, REMAX Advantage Plus. You're always welcome to join the show at any point. 612-294-6949, 612-294-6949 by phone or text. That comes to us right in studio at any point. And Scott, top of the morning to you, and great to see you as always.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. I was just looking last night to try to find out the exact times or the exact many years that we've been on. And the best I can tell, I'm bad with time. I think this is our 25th year.
Is it really?
Yeah, because I think it was the beginning of 2006. And so this should be pretty close to our 25th year.
25 years, young man.
On this state or on doing the show. Hopefully appreciate or hopefully everybody enjoys it. 612-294-6949 is how you can join the discussion. We love your comments. I'm going to talk a little bit today after we get through the market updates on what's happening in the spring market. We're going to talk about multiple offers. They're going to be coming back. How do you navigate that when you're listing somebody's house? And how do you navigate that when you are writing in a multiple offer situation? And we're also going to talk about interest rates. President Trump came out with talking about artificially dropping home interest rates. I'm not a big fan of that, but we'll talk about what that could mean as well.
Yeah, again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. And at any point as well, we're streaming on social media, your favorite social media platform, Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We also stream the show as well. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. First segment, we always do a little real estate update and a mortgage update. Interest rates. The latest they said is that mortgage interest rates dropped a little bit this past week, according to Freddie Mac. The national 30-year fixed-year rate dropped by 8 basis points to 6.96. So kind of the high sixes, low sevens. The 15-year fixed rate is down to 6.16. Then the article, they also went on to say, of course, these rates may seem high, but they said, remember, current mortgage rates are still below the 50-year moving average. So interest rates, again, high sixes, low sevens. And then from a real estate standpoint, here is an update on the numbers here in the Twin Cities. New listings, new homes for sale, almost 10% increase year over year. There were 1,006 new properties that came on the market, pending sales, accepted offers down 7.7%, 529 pending sales. And then the overall inventory actually decreased a little bit. It went down a little bit to 6,857 homes for sale in the Twin Cities. And then Scott, the last thing for us we can comment on is they talked about that with higher interest rates along with rising prices, it continues to impact buyer preferences for smaller homes. They said, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the typical single-family home under construction had a median floor area of 2,158 square feet in the third quarter last year. And that's down from 2,214 square feet. So smaller homes, Scott.
Yeah, well, affordability is what everybody's chasing, and that's why they're looking at doing smaller homes. Never seen a market that's so interest rate driven. And and I understand. I see this. You just said it. I see it on Facebook all the time. We're still historically low for interest rates, and that might be true. Where the pain is coming in is we are not historically low for the cost of everything else. So you have interest rates high. You have housing prices that have skyrocketed over since 2022 and are continuing to appreciate up. You have wages that are pretty much frozen, and therein lies the problem. So I agree. Interest rates this is pretty good. So if the average home sale was $250,000, a 7% interest rate wouldn't feel bad. But when you have the average home, I think we're creeping up around 390 now. So you have an interest rate of 7% and buying a house at 390. You're in the $3,300 a month range for an entry level buyer. That's tight.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely impacting the market. And it's interesting, again, looking at inventory levels under 7,000 homes. So it creates kind of a unique opportunity where there's just not a lot of homes for sale out there. And so many agents are having a hard time finding homes for their customers. Certain properties are getting offers. And as Scott said, we'll talk a little bit about multiple offers. But also, Scott, certain properties are sitting. We're seeing a lot of market time on certain listings where nothing's happening on them.
Well, it's the age-old problem. You hear that, like, for example, going into the spring, everything's going to multiple offers. Well, first of all, everything doesn't go into multiple offers, but certain ones do. And so it's human nature. You think in terms of you want to get more aggressive. Oh, prices are going up, so I'm going to get more aggressive. And every property's got a sweet spot. I've talked about it for the last 4 years, and we are going to be in the same market this coming spring. You cannot underprice a home in this market. It's impossible. 6,700 homes on the market. If you are underpriced, it is going to self-correct. Meaning, let's say you were underpriced by 10 grand, you're going to get 5, 10, 15 offers on it, and it will self-correct. The switch of that is that same home that maybe is worth 725. So if you went 7 or 710 or 715, you end up getting 730. You end up taking that home and you end up going to 750 or 745, and then you sit because you've already pushed the number and you don't have the interest. And sitting in this market, like any other market I've ever seen, you do not want to sit 2-3 weeks in this market.
Yeah, before our first break, wanted to touch on a featured listing. Heidi Huseth, great agent on the Minnesota real estate team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. She's got one. This one is actually in Rochester, 1952 Waterford Place Southwest, priced at $255,000. It is, she said, one level living with an attached garage, 2-bed, 2-bath. It's got newer LVP flooring throughout, a walk-in tiled shower, gas fireplace, and new roof. Again, $255,000 for 1952 Waterford Place Southwest. Be sure to check out the photos there. Again, you can join our discussion. We are live. 612-294-6949 is how you can connect with us by phone or by text here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks everybody for joining us on social media. Appreciate it. You may notice my voice is a little off. I'm kind of battling through a cold here today. So thank you all for the kind comments and well wishes. Scott, you've had a cold here recently too.
Well, I have allergies all the time, so it's always hard for me even to decipher which one's a cold and which one's an allergy.
You do have allergies a lot, don't you?
I had allergies, and I never had them. I used to make fun of my kids.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you don't have allergies. That's not a real thing.
What is that?
And then all of a sudden I turned 35, and guess what? They're a real thing.
Yeah.
So I'm always battling with it a little bit. I've got my mixture of cold medicine and whatever.
Yeah.
Get it gone.
Yeah, it is. It's that time of year. But again, we're grateful for you all watching, listening. It is it's kind of an interesting time in the Minnesota real estate market with just a lot of these different variables going on. And like Scott, you talked about with interest rates, everything really is interest rate driven. And the big question mark is, will Trump, with the new administration, will that have an impact on things? Can it have an impact on things? I know we're going to talk more on air about that too, Scott, but interest rates really are driving things.
They really are. And we will talk about this obviously when we get back on air, but the questions come up, and I don't know if you've watched any of his news conferences, his being Donald Trump's news conferences, but he's talking about artificially dropping interest rates. So for example, interest rates are at 7. So I'm going to artificially, and he has the power to do that because they control Fannie and Freddie, artificially drop interest rates to 4.5.
Sure.
Well, that sounds great on
Sure.
paper. Oh my gosh, 4.5%, that would be affordable. Everybody can afford. The problem is, it's like anything else. Everything that you do has an impact.
Yeah.
So you reduce it to 4.5%.
Yeah.
This house is $500,000. Next week it's $535,000. Why? Because the affordability allows you to do that. Now your payment's still going to be lower, but in argument's sake, you're paying $535,000 for a house that 2 weeks ago was $500,000.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So, I believe there's some ways to position if you are a person that thinks he's going to do that. When would be the best time for you to buy? I would argue that you buy at 7% at the real value. And then if he does artificially drop rates, you jump on a refinance.
Yeah, again, I had a question come in. This one just says, guys, I am looking at buying my first home inspection. Does it make sense for me? First time buyers, again, when you're doing that home inspection, that gives you the ability to learn about the house, to find out what is wrong. Very important. It is very important. Again, the home inspector doesn't have to be licensed in the state of Minnesota. We would recommend, we've got some really great partners at mnrealestateshow.com who are trusted, who will do a good job. The hard thing about it, Scott, is many first-time home buyers are in such a competitive range where sellers don't want to see home inspections on the offer. So that's what makes it a tough situation.
Yeah, and we're going to be back in that full force. I would say starting here in a couple of weeks, for anything under $500,000 that is priced correctly, you're going to be in multiples and everything. And unfortunately, hard to get an inspection through with that. But learning is the reason to do it. It's not as much the problem, it's learning about the house.
Here we go. We're going back live on air. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to the second act.
The second act.
Second segment of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend's going well. My voice might sound a little froggy. I'm battling through a little cold, but we're happy to be here. Happy to be here at WCCO. And again, we welcome your questions, comments, thoughts at any point. 612-294-6949. 612-294-6949. Had a good question, Scott, about first-time home buyers doing home inspections. And it is important for first-time buyers to learn about that, to go with the home inspector, learn about the home. The hard thing is with offers, it's competitive, and so sellers don't want to see a home inspection contingency. So it can be harder for that first-time home buyer to get an offer accepted.
That's right, and we're going to see it coming back with 6,700 homes on the market, which is basically no homes on the market. The Twin Cities, we're going to be back to multiple offers on everything, moving into the spring, and there's no way of avoiding it. I mean, if you want to buy a house and you're buying under $500,000, you're not going to be able to get an inspection through for the most part. And this is a question from buyers, which I always find interesting because we just say that like it's a thing. Well, buyers will go, well, wait a minute, why are they scared of a home inspection? Why does the seller not want to have a home inspection?
Sure.
I mean, we're giving them a good offer. We're doing this. Why are they scared of having a home inspection? And you always have to remember, when you're a buyer, that listing agent is not trying to sell you the house. Okay, that seller is not trying to sell you personally the house. So if there's 15 offers on a property and 6 of them don't have home inspections, that's just one less thing they have to deal with. So why intelligently would they ever accept a home with an inspection when I can name 15 things that can go wrong? It's a lot of them are not even having anything wrong at the home inspection. You're just adding one more wrinkle for people to get weird and people to bail out and take time off the market, which hurts your sale.
Yeah, this is a question that came in. Again, you can join us by phone or text. Really anything. Nothing's off limits. Topic wise, you love the NFL. That could be we could ramble on.
We could do a 5-hour show.
But this one, this is a kind of an unfortunate one, unfortunate situation. This one just said, I'm in a situation where what I owe on the property, I don't think I'm able to actually sell it for that. Is there any option for me? You can do what's called a short sale, where let's just say you owe $400,000 on the property and it's worth $300,000. As long as there's a valid hardship, what happens is your agent will work with the lender or lenders, if there's multiple mortgages or liens, to try to get them to approve the short sale, the short amount that they're collecting. It is a case-by-case situation, Scott. We have closed a lot of those over the years. There have been some of these situations that we're seeing, and it's unfortunate. Obviously, it's a very unfortunate. It's preferred to letting the house go completely in foreclosure from a credit standpoint, but it's also important to just talk to a really good agent and attorney who can help guide you through the situation.
Yeah, and I would go back to your excuse me, your first part of the question, which is you think that you are upside down in your house. So
Sure.
So step number 1, and we'd be willing to obviously help you with that, is just reach out to us. We can take a look at your home and see, because frankly, unless you bought excuse me, unless you bought in about 4 months of 2022, there's really a gap of about the last 7 years that it would be pretty hard for you to be upside down on your property.
Yeah.
And so we would need to look at it first. But yes, with what Ryan's saying, if that is the situation and you are behind and you definitely are upside down, then you can do a short sale. They're not painless, but they do get done.
I always love, kind of the question oftentimes that as agents or people in the real estate industry will get is, how is the market? How are things going? And Scott, I was talking to a friend a couple nights ago, and I think sometimes as home sellers or people just sort of casually following real estate, you may think, okay, rates are higher. It's the middle of winter. We had record cold this year. Nothing is happening. And it's always been interesting to me. And I guess the short sale question made me think of this. There's always situations where transactions are happening.
Correct.
Relocation to the Twin Cities, unfortunate situations like this, short sales, death in the family selling property through probate process, first-time home buyers, investors. So it's always, and I think sometimes agents too, sometimes get kind of worried, hey, it's winter, is anything going to happen? And things keep happening. I mean, that's the reality of it. And the market keeps moving, Scott.
Yeah, well, if you break it down, there is always a good real estate market. It just depends on what side of the fence you're on.
Sure.
So, for example, back in the worst that we've ever seen, back in 2006 through 2010, oh my God, there's 40,000 homes on the market, and I haven't had a showing in 6 months. And what a horrible foreclosures everywhere. What a horrible real estate market. There was more transfer of wealth in those 5 years that I've ever seen in real estate, and probably ever will. Meaning, if you were liquid, if you had the ability to not have to sell anything and just buy, it was the best market I'd ever seen.
So investors buy.
Oh my gosh. I had investors, literally, I'm saying, buy everything you can possibly buy, anything you can afford to buy, you buy. And so that was a great market, even though it was bad for most. This market, it's the second best sellers market we have ever seen on the history of the planet. So if you are a seller and you are not necessarily having to buy anything, or you're buying down instead of up. It's a great market. You are going to absolutely max out whatever your real estate agent in the market can push on your house. You're going to max that out. So you always have to look at it with what lens you're looking at. That brings me up to this example of, well, why would I buy right now? Rates are at 7% and so on. Well, Donald Trump has said he's going to drop rates. He's going to artificially drop home interest rates to make it more affordable. I think it's a horrible idea. I don't believe in messing with the free market. If rates are not at 5% and you drop them to 5%, that's not real. That's not market driven. That's just something to spur. And the problem with that is it brings us back to kind of a 2022 do-over again. Your house right now is at 500 at 7%. You artificially drop rates next week to 4.5%. Now that house is worth 535. You're better off buying the house right now at 7%. And then maybe Donald Trump does drop rates. And if he does, great. You bought a house for 5 instead of 535. You got an interest rate of 7 that now you can refinance at 4.5. Great opportunity for you. So again, right now, with it kind of floating out there of what's going to happen, is a good time to kind of take a swing. Hey, I'm going to buy something right now, get it at a decent value, and then rates might drop.
Yeah, I had another question come in, 612-294-6949. This one is about closing costs. Hey guys, enjoy the show. Just wondering, can I always ask the seller to pay my closing costs? You can. Yeah, you can ask the seller to pay your closing costs. Usually it's about 3%, which is title fees, lender fees, real estate fees, etc. And you have to remember, though, that sellers care about what we call being the net offer. So if you wanted to offer $300,000 on the house, but then you bumped it up to $309,000, asking the seller to pay $9,000 in closing costs, that's a $300,000 offer to the seller. And that's really all the seller cares about. Where it can be a problem is, as a buyer, is that if you wrap your closing costs into the deal, it can push it up higher, and some sellers and listing agents worry about appraisals. And so I've seen some situations where buyers end up losing in an offer situation because they wrapped in their closing costs. So the reality of it is you pay it one way or the other. You either pay it in a higher price for the house, or you bring more cash to closing and you pay it out of your pocket at closing, Scott.
Yeah, and Brian's exactly right. The only kind of caveat I would put on that, I would say that in a standard offer, you're writing, there's one offer, it's just you and the seller, you guys are negotiating out, very easy to get closing costs rolled in. Because again, the seller doesn't care about them, it just cares about the net. If you can guarantee the appraised value, you're good, you're good to go. Versus there's 10 offers. 10 offers, and now you're asking for closing costs, you're not going to get it. And again, the buyer mind goes, well, why? What's the difference? It's the same net. It all has to do with associated risk. 7 of the offers aren't asking for it. They don't need to get appraisal gap. It just, that's the reason. So it just depends. Again, everything in real estate, I always say, it's based on your position of power. Am I going to have to take less than this? Well, not if I can drive 6 offers on it. So will I have to take less? Well, is it the first 2 days in the market and I've got 4 second showings set up? Or have we been on the market for 60 days and haven't had a showing? Everything has to do with your position of power and what you can do.
Hope your weekend's going well, everybody. It's warming up a little bit. Again, we're here at News Talk 830 CCO, WCCO. Before the break, had one other listing. Sue Marty has got a great one. This is in St. Paul, right in downtown St. Paul. It's 209 East 8th Street. Unit 406, listed for $299,900. She says, live at the Dakota in St. Paul. It's a top floor unit overlooking the park. It's just 2 blocks from CHS Field. 2 bed, 2 bath. Got an open concept, lots of windows, hardwood floors, a primary en suite. It's got full-length closets, 3/4 tiled bath. And again, it's minutes from restaurants, shopping, nightlife, and the arts. Sue said a quick closing is possible. 209 East 8th Street, Unit 406 in St. Paul, right in downtown St. Paul, $299,900. Be sure to check that one out. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Yeah, that's nice. You know what? I like downtown St. Paul.
Yeah.
I've always thought it would be fun to live downtown. Obviously, right now, WCCO, if for those of you who've never been down to the studio, we're right downtown here on 7th and is it Nicollet?
Second,
Second. 7th and 2nd. And so,
in Minneapolis.
yeah, you never know. You never know, where we are. We're just on the second floor here, kind of a random location. But living downtown, my brother Dan lives downtown. What are your thoughts on that, Scott? About living downtown?
Well, I did it for a year. When
Yeah.
when I got divorced.
Yeah.
When I got divorced a few years ago, I
Yeah.
lived in a high-rise downtown that overlooked the stadium and the river. And
Yeah.
I thought, for me
Yeah.
personally, I thought I was going to really like it because, I'm
Okay.
single,
Hey,
I'm
you're just
50,
fine.
and whatever else. But I ended up not.
Yeah.
I was a suburb guy my whole life, grew up
Sure.
in Bemidji.
Okay.
And so all the things I thought I would enjoy about it, I just really didn't
I don't know,
utilize. So
I
I
don't know
moved,
if
I
that
moved
was
back
the
to Lake.
exact
Yeah.
issue. but
So
the way it
amenity
was,
wise, for amenity
Danny was
wise,
hearing
it's,
it, it was
you're
as
closer
if
to
you could hear
restaurants,
every
you're
microphone was
downtown.
But it will, none of the microphones were
Maybe
on there, all the microphones
around
were off,
more
but
people you
just the
think
way
that
Danny
are
was hearing
kind of
it,
living that
it was
life
as if
as well
every microphone
versus the
was on,
suburbs.
even
You
when
were
his
always
phone
out in the
was
suburbs.
even when they
And
were off.
so I don't know. It was interesting because I remember you
Which is
living
very
down there.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was, and it was right in off of St. Anthony, Maine. So,
Yeah.
so all the bars were below. and
Sure.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to go down there every night. I'm going to mingle with people.
Have fun.
And meanwhile, the majority of my business is south of the river. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't a good fit for me, but people have really enjoyed it that have done it. The
Yeah.
building was full of them. Everybody in that building had sold their home in the suburbs and had moved downtown.
Yeah, the interesting thing too, again, is HOAs with that association fee in the cost. That's the other thing too, that you
Okay.
really as an
Yeah, I mean, it
owner
seems fine
don't
if
have
it's in
control
talkback
of
right
that.
now.
That's
And if you're not
hard
hearing,
from,
real
again,
estate
from a
guys do like
homeowner, from an
live
affordability
stream show where
standpoint.
we've been talking
Scott, we're
about
seeing that in
properties.
some
So if you're not
properties
hearing
all
that,
over
that's-
the Twin
yeah,
Cities,
that's
not
fine.
only downtown, but
Danny
people
was
just
hearing
saying,
it
hey,
all this morning.
HOAs have risen, et cetera. That will affect you buying into the property, but also selling when you're selling your condo, selling your townhome.
Well, yeah, we've talked about that before, that people
Yeah, I
people
hear it.
seem to not understand.
You know,
If you are,
like
let's say
all the
you have
guys
the
like Danny
same
was, I mean,
exact
seems like everything
condo,
should be fine, but yeah, it was
you have the
very
exact
obvious
same
that
condo built in
I
two
couldn't find what the
buildings,
issue was.
4 blocks from each other. They're the same exact condo, the same builder. One association's fees are $450 a month.
Okay,
The other association fees are $200 a month.
right,
Do both homes sell for $300,000?
right.
They don't. The one that has
Yes,
a
it should be around,
$250,000 association sells for
1105.
$300,000. The one that has a $450,000 association
I am
sells for
just gonna get started,
$225,000.
and then
Yeah.
Because it's all payment based, and that's what people are doing.
taking over.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, guys, we're having some technical issues in studio here right now. So if you can hear, there's just some folks talking. There's a little bit of mic stuff going on, but we really appreciate you guys joining us here today. And we see some other questions that have come in again as well. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Scott, in the spring market, 6,800 homes for sale. That again, folks, is just super low. I mean, just a very, very low amount. We always say balanced is about 18,000.
Yeah.
So again, think of that, almost a third of the homes for sale. That's what makes this an interesting market.
Yeah, it is. And again, that's why we're going live. We'll cover this on there.
Thank you, Al.
Hey, welcome back to the second half of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We appreciate you joining us here on News Talk 830 WCCO every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can join us 612-294-6949. Again, 612-294-6949. Had a question about the cabin market that had come in, just saying, are you guys seeing the same thing? Limited inventory, rising prices with the cabin market. People love their cabins, Scott.
Love their cabins. They're not making any more lakeshore. So if you're going to put your money anywhere, that is the place to put it.
Yeah, people love the cabins. Love the cabins. Again, limited inventory, rising prices. And I think it's important to know too, your agent. So just one thing, Scott, about maybe finding for example, a cabin. You know, I saw the email from our team recently where they were talking about, trying other ways to find properties. You really need an agent, again, that's going to knock on doors, that's going to send letters to a neighborhood, that's going to network within the community to find out who's who maybe is selling something. Those are the best agents who can find stuff, Scott, off market, because not everything goes up for sale where everyone sees it. And that's where you really need a strong real estate agent. In my opinion, they are worth every dollar and then some.
They are. Now, I'll take the devil's advocate of that.
Yeah.
If you're a seller that does get somebody that knocks on your door and you're thinking about selling, again, this is strictly on the selling side. I am a firm believer in taking your house to market.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you get this letter and somebody wants to buy it, and that's great. And they give you a number, and maybe that number feels good. But trust me, in this market,
Just had this happen, Scott.
you're much better off going to the market. One offer to 3 offers, maybe 10 grand difference. 5 to 7 offers is maybe another 15,000. So it is always, in my opinion, better off to bring it to the open market, see what you get.
Yeah.
Even with the ease of sale, that can feel good.
Well, and again, this question, talking to a team member this week, was about a cash offer he received from an investor. Hey, we'll buy your property, very easy, no hassles, whatever. And I told our agent, I said, look, this is not in the best interest of your seller. We talked about the property and the ability to bring it onto the market, to put it on MLS. So all of our friends from all the different real estate companies, everyone can see it. That's best for this seller. And they were worried about condition. Hey, it's the condition's not great. That's okay. You just accurately describe it. You put it on MLS. You explain it. You're going to get more money that way. Versus, again, you have to remember, a cash offer buyer, they're looking to make money.
Yeah, they're not doing it because they're sweethearts. I mean, it's like, I see the advertising for this stuff all over the place. And
You're a sweetheart,
I
Scott.
can tell you right now, heck, we're cash offers. We'd love to buy your house.
Sure.
Everybody would. Anyone that's buying your house for cash without an inspection and blah, 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 they're making 10 to 15 to 30% on it.
Right.
And that's just the reality. Back to bringing your house to market. This is one that sticks out as an example last year. So I had a past client of mine that had an offer on his house.
Okay.
that he had quietly tried to sell for sale by owner.
Okay.
And he was thrilled because he wasn't going to pay commissions and whatever, and they were going to buy it for $190.
Okay, 190.
And I'm like, Tim, I said, dude, let me just list it, please. Don't do that. We ended up with 272.
Wow.
So almost an $80,000 difference. And he had tried to sell it for sale by owner for a month or so. And again, we know what the statistics are. They're less than 1% sell and 13% less in value and whatever. But again, it's one of those things where he felt good about it because he had bought it for 140, 15 years ago or whatever. And he thought it was a fair offer. And I said, at that price range, under 300 grand, I mean, you can't get it. You're going to have 25 offers on it.
Yeah, I had a question just based on our discussion. This is a good one. They texted in and just said, are you guys saying buy off market and sell off market, correct? No, not necessarily saying buy or sell off market. The reason I think we're talking about that is because of the market conditions. With 6,800 homes, what happens is you can get a buyer that says, hey, Scott, I'm ready to buy a house.
Ready to
Here's my
roll.
price range, et cetera, et cetera. And then you're ready to go out and go look for stuff, and you can't find exactly what you're wanting, your buyer is wanting. So that's where you have to then be creative, be be aggressive to help your customer find something. From a selling standpoint, again, to Scott's part, selling off market, it is always best to get as many people that can see it, get everyone a fair shot at it. By putting it on MLS, again, we as real estate agents pay a fee to get access to this. So all of the companies, all the agents, all the buyers can see it, Scott. That's best for the seller. It's going to get them the most money.
Yeah. Why don't we talk? So we're basically kind of talking about multiple offers, the whole show in and out, but there is a I've been doing this for 27 years, and there is a talent, like there is in any other kind of business, to maximizing out multiple offers. I've taught classes on it. The biggest thing that, and this will sound for anybody listening, they'll say, well, why wouldn't every agent do that? Well, every agent is not particularly cut out of the same mold. It is how does your agent navigate that? How are they in contact with the agents that maybe have the highest offers?
Right.
How do they let them know that They're probably going to need to get a little bit more aggressive if they're going to be in range. Okay, that is what a good agent's going to do. They're going to massage the people because, again, understand this. A listing agent's only job is to get you the maximum that they can possibly get for your house with the best terms. They have no obligations to the buyers. So they should be in contact with the buyer's agent saying, hey, just want to let you know, Joey, you might want to get a little bit more aggressive on this. Cheryl, you're a little bit low through the day. Now you might think, well, that's horrible. You're working them. Yeah, I am. I'm working for my seller to get the most money at the end of the day versus, and I would say this, maybe you disagree with it, 90% of agents out there that you wrote a multiple offer on won't talk to you, don't get back to you. Hey, we're looking at them at 4 o'clock. Just get them in, we'll look at them. Well, in my opinion, you've left 15 grand on the table, depending on the price range. Because if somebody knows they're close, they're going to get more aggressive versus just silence. And then just because you're lazy and you just wait for them to come in and end up with what you got.
Yeah, it is important. And I found this tendency, the importance of the telephone, of picking up the phone to have a human conversation with the listing agent directly from agent to agent. I think it's very easy nowadays with electronic signing, with text messages, just to do everything, send the offer over. But there is importance to that, and then for agents to be able to pick up the phone, have a conversation on that. One other thing, Scott, that you were just talking about, so sellers don't always have to counter each of those direct offers. In other words, they may say, we've got a highest and best situation, submit your best offer, and then they may just pick one at that point. So the listing agent has to follow the direction of whatever the seller is telling them. Sometimes we have people get upset saying, boy, Scott, I would have done 20 grand more, or I would have removed my inspection. They didn't even give me a chance. Well, they don't have to give you a chance. The listing agent is following the seller's direction.
That's right. And my point on both of these is the phone calls that occur in that situation. Let's say I represent the buyer and I've been reaching out to the listing agent, and then that listing agent's doing his job and lets me know that, hey, you're in there, but you're not quite there. And I get my person up. And at the end of the day, that is a lot of money that ends up being earned versus just, hey, send them in, I'll take a look at them when they come in. I got 10, I know I'm getting paid, and you're gone. It's like, there's a craft to it.
Yeah, I wanted to share Mike Hilber, great agent on the Minnesota real estate team, just texted in as well. He said, Ryan, I had a sweet retired lady that called the number on the television. She took a cash offer for $286. She and her nephew reached out to me for my opinion, canceled the contract. We listed it on the open market and accepted an offer for $352,000 1 month ago. So a difference of $66,000. Wow, great job, Mike. Part of the reason you need a top agent to help you through the process, Scott, I know we're up against our third break. We're going to continue the discussion. We've got some other questions and comments that have come in. Appreciate you all listening here. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. That's a good one. That's wow.
Yeah.
Almost $70,000 difference in that price range. Think about as you get more expensive. Think about the $400, $600, $800 million homes, those cash offers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm putting on a home on Prior Lake that my seller has had multiple. Hey, we'll give you 2 million. Hey, we'll give you 2.2. We'll give you, and his question to me is, what are we going to get? And I said, well, we're going to get a lot more than 2.2. So it's like,
right.
So, we know that.
Yeah.
And these are people just coming to you off word of mouth. So when you've got and it's obviously an incredibly nice property, when you've got a property that people are going to fight over, you get more in to fight.
Sure.
That's the point of it is you get more people in to fight. That number is always the highest you can get.
Yeah. From an investor standpoint, we just want to share again, every month we do real estate investing seminars in Bloomington. They're in person. They are also on social media. We stream them as well. And as a if you're thinking about becoming an investor, fixing and flipping properties, buying investment properties to hold and rent out, that's a lot of my personal background with the industry over the last 20 years. Great classes, low sales pitch, but a way, Scott, that people can long-term build some wealth through real estate by, even in this, any kind of market, buying some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It is investing in real estate. When you look at the people around you that have accumulated wealth, for the most part, the majority of them own property. Yeah, they obviously own their own home most of the time, but they also own investment property. The percentage on a bigger number is a bigger number. So
Yeah.
it's a good way to invest.
Yeah, again, think about that wherever you might be. If you've never purchased a home at all, don't hesitate. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to Mike Overson and his team, Luminate Home Loans. They do a wonderful job, regardless of your situation. We had a question come in about credit, having bad credit. Doesn't mean you're stuck with bad credit forever. There's ways to improve that. There's ways to get you to a spot to purchase. Scott, we've seen a lot of people with bad credit over months, over time, get in a spot to purchase real estate.
Oh my gosh, Credit Life, which is our main partner for that, is great. I've had clients that have gone in at 580 that were at 700 within 9 months.
Yeah.
So they can make a big impact. A lot of credit stuff is normally old stuff that's just still sitting around.
Yeah.
So once you get that cleaned up and get ahead of it, you can pull it out pretty quick.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting when it comes to credit. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Had a comment about seeing a lot of cash offers. There are some cash offers. Yep, you see a lot of that where, again, there's no mortgage involved. Those are generally preferred for sellers because there isn't the potential the deal could fall apart because of financing. Obviously, though, Scott, not a lot of people can go cash.
Yeah, that brings me up to a really good program that Mike Overson has. And you can get to Mike by applywithmike.com. So in this year where everything is going to be moving quickly, are we up?
Oh, sorry, I've got a little time.
Where everything's going to be moving quickly, one of the biggest issues is, well, Scott, I have a house to sell. And I don't want to buy a house until I don't want to sell my home until I find a home to buy, but I can't qualify for both houses.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be an issue that a lot of people are going to run into. So Mike has got a program, and I'm going to simplify it. You can go to applywithmike.com and ask him more questions.
Yeah.
But basically, it's $2,500. They guarantee the sale of your house. So now you're not non-contingent.
Sure.
You can buy what you want. I think you have 180 days to sell your current house, and it costs you $2,500. It's a great program, and a lot of people will be using it.
Yeah, again, appreciate you joining us. 612-294-6949. Had a funny comment, says, hey, Ryan, Scott's math is off. 2006 to 2025 is not 25 years. It's 19 years.
Oh, we've been on for 20 years then. What did I say, 25?
25.
20 years. 20 years.
That's all right. That's okay. Here we go. We're going back live. And I had a funny comment come in that says Scott's math is off. 2006 to 2025 is not 25 years, Scott.
That is 19 years. So we've been on for, I'll call it 20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
20 years. Hey, I got one last listing to touch on. Miss Jennifer Tischlitter, great agent on the Minnesota real estate team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. She has one in Monticello, 1337 County Road 39 Northwest in Monticello for $450,000. And she said it's 4 acres. It has tons of mature trees, a pond in the backyard, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, lots of storage, attached 4-car heated garage, in-floor heat in the lower level, plenty of room to build your dream shed or garage too. 1337 County Road 39 Northwest for $450,000. Sounds like a great one, Scott.
Yeah, very, very nice. Again, Minnesota Real Estate Show. You can contact us during the week, by the way, at 612-294-6949, or always at mnrealestateshow.com, where you can find out about the team, how that works, and also all of our great vendors. We've got them from accountants to waterproofing companies to insurance companies, the best of the best. So make sure you check them out.
Yeah, again, we had commented, again, each month we do investment property and first-time home buyer seminars. If you go to mnrealestateshow.com, there you can see all of the dates of our seminars. Our next one that's coming up is actually Tuesday, the 28th. So coming up this coming Tuesday, David Meyer on our team leads kind of a real estate investing 101.5 seminar, he calls it. Sort of the basics. How do I get into this? How could I fix and flip? How could I buy a duplex? How could I just be a real estate investor in general? A lot of these courses, again, are taught either by David, myself, and they're all about how to do this in reality here in the Twin Cities. There's no hard sales pitch at all. And Scott, that's a lot of my background with the business, starting in 2001 as kind of a small real estate investor buying a duplex, which we still own. And yeah, it's a great way to help people, but also build some long-term wealth.
Yeah, we were talking about. I was asked at a dinner party if you were to recommend to a young, kind of new person getting into the workforce and getting into real estate, no kids, no family, just them. What would you suggest they buy? And duplex is always what I suggest. It is a very, very good way to basically live free or very close to free. You buy one, you live on the other side. I know Ryan's done that multiple times.
Yeah.
And when you're just starting out,
We should have lived together.
Oh God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Neither of us would be walking around if we lived together.
We should have lived
We
together.
should-
That would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
You can live on the upstairs. I'll live downstairs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I do have a kind of a fun and exciting announcement. And I know Mom listens to the Minnesota Real Estate Show, as your dear mother does
Yep,
as well.
she does.
So this property, Scott, back in 2001, this duplex with our foundation, the O'Neill Foundation of Hope, here in 2025, we are going to be opening up the Bob and Kathy O'Neill House of Hope, which is this duplex
Okay.
is going to be opening up in honor of our mother and father for folks who have gone through a difficult time, maybe loss of job, medical issues, hard times. They need some short-term housing as a way to save.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, save a little bit of money. It's an up and down duplex. Super excited, again, as just a small way to honor Mom, Dad, and again, that's the Bob and Kathy O'Neill House of Hope. It'll be fun.
What a great idea. That's awesome. And for those of you that Ryan doesn't talk about it a lot, but the O'Neill Foundation that does exactly that. You help 2 families a week, or that's the goal this year.
Yep.
And it's local people that you can see where your money's going. It's the best. I give to Tunnel of Towers, same kind of reason.
Yeah.
You know where the money's going,
Yeah.
and it's going directly to these people. You can see them being helped. It's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it, Scott. No, thank you. Just wanted to give a quick note on that. I know Mom and Dad, this will be fun. And again, there's a lot of people housing wise, Scott. That's the thing. I think sometimes people forget you have one bad thing happen in your life, and you can be living in a motel. And I think people forget that how difficult of a time it's been for folks with the cost of everything. And it's just one bad move. You got kids, that's scary.
Well, it is. And I always hear people say, well, they should just get a job. Well, you got to have a residence to get a job. You have to have an address.
Yep.
So it snowballs on
Or
you.
get a car. What if you don't have a car?
Yeah, well, yeah. So it just snowballs on you, where all of a sudden, you get in a bad situation. Now you don't have a place to live. Now you can't get a job because you don't have a place to live, and because it's like all of a sudden it just wraps you up. And you basically give these people a short-term respite.
Yep.
To get ahead of it.
Build a little cash.
Get a little cash, get ahead of it, and then move on. And it's been very successful.
Yeah, just last thing real quick. People often ask me, are these people working? Yeah, they're working. They're working hard. They're not just extending their hand saying, give me money.
That's right.
They're working hard. These are good people, very good people that have gone through a tough time. So I appreciate everybody's support. It's o'neillhope.org is how you can learn more and about what we're doing. But Scott, last thought for today?
Yeah, I think, just understand that if you're going into this market, again, the 2 things I think you should take out of today is, we're going to be back into a multiple offer situation in the majority of properties that are priced correctly. And if you're a buyer, get with your lender, make sure that you're wired tight, make sure there's nothing out there hanging, and that you're ready to go. If you are a buyer, also, I would suggest that you buy pretty quickly.
Yeah.
At the 7% rate, because I do believe that Donald Trump probably will do what he's saying, and he will artificially drop rates, because rates themselves are not going down, guys. I mean, it's not going to go down without some help. And that sounds good on paper, but if you drop rates, prices go up. So you buy at the price it's at right now, refinance it when they drop. That's what I would suggest.
Great job, buddy.
You too.
Hey, they said if we lived together, we'd be the odd couple.
That would be true.
Hey, it's been a fun one. We appreciate you here on News Talk 830 WCCO. MNRealEstateShow.com is how you can connect with the Minnesota real estate team. We're a team all over the state of Minnesota. We'd be honored to help you and your family with any real estate questions at all. Reach out anytime. Again, MNRealEstateShow.com. Big thanks for joining us here today. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody, for your kind comments. We appreciate it. I had a lot of different comments coming through. Really thank you so much for joining us. Scott, it's a big football day. Before we leave, I got to hear your predictions.
Tomorrow,
Chiefs and Bills.
I think Bills are going to take the Chiefs.
Bills are going to win. What's the score?
31-24.
Ooh, 31. Who's the MVP?
MVP is
Josh Allen. Josh
Yeah,
Allen.
And Washington and Philadelphia.
Washington, Philadelphia, the other big game.
I want Washington, but I think it's going to be Philly.
Yeah, Phil. Who's the MVP? Hurts. Jalen Hurts. All right, it's going to be a fun one. Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it. Hope you and your families enjoy the weekend. We'll be back, and next week is February, dude. February.
is.
Hard to believe the
See you
year's
next week.
zipping by on us already. Take care.